What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Landry Hat podcast powered by FanSided. I'm your host, Zach. You can listen to the Landry Hat wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're watching this here on YouTube, please make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more Cowboys content just like this. And I'm quickly trying to fix this really quick. Yes, there we go. Sorry about that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single piece of Cowboys content this off season. Later this week, we're going to have Foots on the show. We're going to discuss even more Cowboys stuff related to the off season. Today, I'm going to kind of lay the groundwork for what that show is going to be about, because the Cowboys have their draft positions. When they traded Micah Parsons, we weren't sure if they were going to be picking at 15 or they're going to be picking at 30 and 32. We didn't know where the Packers were going to end their season. We didn't know where the Cowboys were going to end their season. Both of those picks could have been at the back end of round one. Both of those picks could have been at the front half of round one. We really didn't know. If you guys want even more Cowboys content from me and Foots, you can check out our channels. Mine is at Double Move. I was actually just live over on my channel talking about Jim Leonhard and the Cowboys search for a coach, for a defensive coordinator. And I think it's going to be a little bit of time before the Cowboys really nail down who the coordinator is going to be, because everybody's in the playoffs. But there are a lot of whispers, there's a lot of smoke, and there's fire that Jim Leonhard is going to be the Cowboys' next defensive coordinator. So let's get started with today's show. Before we do that, though, I want to shout out FanSided and the guys over at the Landry Hat for giving me the opportunity to get on here and talk even more football with all of you guys. I know that some of you are just complete sickos like me that could listen to football talk all day long, and we really appreciate it. Everybody that's listening on audio here on YouTube, who's in the live stream right now. I know you guys just came over from my channel where I was talking Cowboys coaching stuff, but today I want to talk prospects, right? I want to talk about the Cowboys securing that 12th and 20th pick in the draft. And you guys in the comment section, you can ask away in the live show, and we'll sprinkle them in, kind of do a little bit of a Q&A session for the Cowboys draft and even the offseason, even the defensive coordinator search. I'll just yap. If not, I'll just yap about my topics that I have written down for today. So the first thing that we're going to discuss is having the 12th and 20th picks. Would you possibly think about trading up or trading down? That's what makes this draft so much fun, is that Dallas could realistically package those picks and maybe get up to like 6, 7, 8. It's a little bit pricey depending on how the board's going to fall, where the quarterbacks go, what teams are wanting to move up, what teams are wanting to move down. But we can talk about all the way from 5, 6 to 32, because there's a chance that Dallas sits there and picks at 12 and then maybe backs out of the first round with that Packers pick and maybe accumulates a second and a third from another team. And now we're not looking at anybody at the back end of round one. We're looking more so in rounds 2 and 3. And that way they have a full draft, right? So you guys let me know down below in the comments, rewatching, live stream, all of that, trade up or trade down. You guys choose what you would do. Now, I want to talk about some players that I think make sense at 12, or let's say the range from 5 to 12, and then players that make sense from the range of 20 to 28. Let's say that Dallas moves back to 28 or 27 or something around those names. And I'm going to pull up my grades, the players that I've watched so far in this draft. Me and Foots on last week's show actually talked about Caleb Downs potentially making it to 12 overall because of the position. The last safety to be taken inside the top 10 was Jamal Adams in 2017. Foots made a really good point about that. I didn't even know that, but you just think about the position and the value that the NFL has put on safeties. It's extremely low. There's not a ton of teams that are really just hurting for safety play, that a lot of teams feel like they can get by with average safety play. The Baltimore Ravens have proven what having that guy, that Swiss knife can do for your defense. there's just not ever a ton of like top safety prospects or guys that are good enough at the position for teams to just completely throw all of that out the window. The last time that happened was with Jamal Adams in 2017. So Caleb Downs is somebody that we can talk about maybe getting there at 12. Then we have the other discussion. Is Dallas interested in taking a safety at 12? Because they don't typically draft safeties in the first round, the second round, the third round. They completely neglect the position every single year. They do it in free agency. They do it in the draft. They do it hoping that undrafted free agents can come in and make a difference there. Would they even take Downs? Would you want him inside of the top 12? That's a conversation for another day, but he certainly is someone that could make it. Arvell Reese was a really hot name coming into this process. Now that there are more teams getting eliminated from the playoffs, more content creators are going to start gearing towards and shifting towards talking draft. I'm interested to see where the conversation goes on Arvell Reese. It always starts really, really hot. There's a name at the top where you feel like, okay, this is the number 1, number 2, number 3 player. He's probably going to go at least top 5 off the board. Doesn't matter how many quarterbacks go and all that because he's such a good player. Arvell Reese, right now, I wouldn't say makes it to 12, but that is somebody that's a possibility if Dallas were to package their picks and move up in the 2026 NFL Draft. Arvell Reese, really, really like a lot of notes on him. And like I said, we're going to get Foots' opinion on sense, guys that don't really make sense, who he likes. I'm just talking the big hitters right now. Excuse me. And then me and him, we'll discuss more and kind of do a little verses on each of these prospects. But Arvell Reese, big, fast, strong, athletic freak, can cover a ton of ground really, really quick. I think he covers every blade of grass on the field. You can look at him as a linebacker, or you can look at him as a pass rusher, just 20 years old, not even 20 and a half years old yet. Won't even be 21 when he touches an NFL field for the first time. 6'4", 243, projected 40-yard dash is around 4.58 seconds. I think he's a little bit quicker than that. I think the short area quickness is really, really good. He's a tough, hard-nosed tackler, punishes ball carriers and quarterbacks, extremely versatile as both a pass rusher, off-ball linebacker. You can line him up over the A gap, the B gap, nose, it doesn't matter. Line him up at the 9. Do whatever you want to do with Arvell Reese because he is a chess piece that you can use on a defense. What I noticed when watching the film was just the grown man strength, especially as an off-ball linebacker and an edge player too. I mean, this matters for edges, but just to be able to shed blocks, not let guys just drive him into the ground. We saw that with the Cowboys linebackers so much this year, could not get off a block, could not take on blockers. You worry about the Cowboys' ability to keep their linebackers clean so they can flow to the ball. Maybe not as much now with Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark and Osa Odigizua, but it has been something that I've thought about with every linebacker that Dallas has either drafted or spent money on. Like, okay, are the defensive tackles good enough to keep them clean? Are they athletic enough to move sideline to sideline? And if guys do get to them at the second level, can they keep their hands off of them? Can they move guys and go make a tackle? Arvell Reese can do that really, really well. I like his ability as both. I graded him as a linebacker. What I did on my draft is more so like he's a really good player. Like he is a top 5 player in this class to me. Just looking at the measurables and the speed and all of that, and you just look at Ohio State. I don't know how this team did not win a national championship because the next player we're going to talk about and will surely be available at number 12 overall is Sonny Styles. Again, a position that has been kind of depleted in terms of value in the NFL. Linebacker, Sonny Styles probably makes it to you at 12. He's my number 1 graded off-ball linebacker. Big body, moves well sideline to sideline, intriguing athletic profile as well. 6'4", 245, can cover a lot of ground really, really quickly. Moving sideline to sideline is no problem for him. He plays a downhill style of football. Although he looks like a little bit of a slimmer player, he's not as compact as somebody like CJ Allen, who's 6'1", 250, built like Roquan Smith. Kind of reminds me like of a bigger Kyle Hamilton. Like, he's a linebacker's version of Kyle Hamilton. I think he actually fits what the NFL is going to with these offenses wanting to spread the defense out and throw the ball all over the place and challenge linebackers and make them cover in space and make them come down and tackle in space. Sonny Styles can do that. Super, super fun stat. Hopefully I can just talk about this throughout the entire draft process. He's a very sure tackler, 0% missed tackle rate in college, last year in his college, the last season of his college career, 0%. He did not miss a single tackle. Now, when I watched this film that I wrote in the beginning of December, that was at the beginning of December, but 0% up to December playing that many games, like a first round linebacker is going to have a 7 to 8% missed tackle rate. Anything over 10 to 12 is you're going to start looking like, I don't know, that seems a little high. CJ Allen, another guy that I really like, his is pretty low, 7.5%. For it to be at 0, insanity. Most fun, the funnest stat in this year's draft. Good in zone coverage, good understanding and spacing as a zone defender. You can't block him with a tight end. Good physicality, shedding blocks, finding the ball. I think a couple of weaknesses really, really quick. Plays a little too upright at times. Can lead him to lose leverage because he is 6'4" at the linebacker spot. Maybe he isn't going to have as much of a leverage advantage as a guy like CJ Allen. Those three guys to me make sense at 12. Arvell Reese maybe a little bit less. Mansour Delane, another guy that I've watched that I really, really like. 6 foot, 190, outside man or zone cover corner. Moves really well, can mirror wide receivers. Was a transfer into LSU. One of the best cornerbacks in college football this year. A little bit older of a prospect, 22 years old. 4-year starter, played a ton of football, has seen a ton of things. I think he's played in 50 career games in college, which says a lot. I like that experience. Isn't hurt guy, has been healthy for 4 years of his college career. That's not saying that always translates to the NFL, but with the Cowboys' luck at corner, I want a guy that's played a ton of football that can step in and you feel comfortable saying he knows what he knows what he can do. He knows what to do, and he's seen a lot of different things, not the, oh, he played 1 year at so-and-so college, but then he got hurt. I want a guy with experience, a guy that can make a difference right away, especially at 12. And that's kind of the list that I'm going to go with for today. Like I said, we're going to talk to Foots and have the conversation, more in-depth conversation for guys at 12. Some more names that I think make sense at 20. CJ Allen is a guy that I wouldn't mind the Cowboys taking a look at. Some people are going to say he's not a first-round corner, but a first-round linebacker, but you guys got to remember there's not always first-round players left at 20. Who do they take at 12? And then when you get to 20, who is available and who is your highest graded player? I think you're also going to have a shot at Avion Terrell. You might have Romello Height, which is an edge player. TJ Parker, Caden Proctor might even be available, who is a tackle. Terrence Steele might not be here. What do you think about Tyler Guyton? Is Tyler Smith moving to tackle? What is the plan there? Colton Hood, Brandon Siss, who is a cornerback for South Carolina. I like him a lot too. Those are a couple guys that make sense at 20 and 12. Players that make sense if they trade up. This is the fun one, right? And this is why I get to say we get to talk genuinely about 27 of the 32 spots in the first round, because it could go either way. I'm going to say this now. I'm going to say this early. If I get proven wrong, I get proven wrong. I don't think they're going to trade up. I don't see them trading up. Too many spots, too many needs, too many holes in this roster. It's leaking into the boat. You got to patch as many of those as you can, even if the patches aren't extremely strong, right? I don't think that you can, let's say that you got 5 holes in the boat. Arvell Reese is a pretty big patch. He might patch 2 of those 5 holes, but then guess what? You still got water coming into 3 out of 5 of those, and your boat is still going to sink. So, in my opinion, try to feel fill those 5 gaps, those 5 holes in the boat with 2 big pieces of tape, with 2 first rounders. I would stick and pick. I'd say that now at 12 and 20, try to get those 2 first rounders. Maybe if they can move back, get a couple smaller patches, maybe pick up a second or third rounder. That would be a ton of fun. Some guys that might go before, or I'm expecting to go higher than the Cowboys selection. David Bailey. We just talked about Caleb Downs being an option at 12. That's another guy, like, I'll be interested to see the buzz that he gets. The Bengals need a safety. I remember when they had Jesse Bates. They like having a really good safety. Carnell Tate is going to go in most likely top 7 or top 8. Cowboys don't need a wide receiver. Unless something drastic happens with, sorry, I got off track. Unless something drastic happens with George Pickens and they don't sign him to a long-term deal, Carnell Tate is not an option. Like, if they sign George Pickens, Carnell Tate is completely out the window. I would rather them just go ahead and sign Pickens anyway. Like I said, David Bailey's probably going to go. Jeremiah Love. We always say it every year. We're like, oh, Jeremiah Love will be there at 12. Oh, he'll be there at 15. He'll be there at 18. I remember when we were talking about Bijan Robinson. Coming out of Texas, one of the best running back prospects in the past 10 years. We say that every other year about a running back. Robinson, we were talking about him making it to 24. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. They do it every year. They're gonna draft a team. It doesn't matter if they're good, if they're bad, if they're awesome. They're gonna take a running back inside the top 10, especially a guy like Jeremiah Love that can move like that can play like that. Absolutely phenomenal player. Reuben Bain Jr. was, I believe, PFF's #1 graded prospect, like, throughout the college football season. There's some other guys moving around up there towards the top of this class, especially with Mendoza and Dante Moore. Best case scenario, let all the quarterbacks, like, can we get as many quarterback prospects as possible? If you could have 11 quarterbacks go in the first round, you'd be doing really good. Like, can we have the #1 pick after all the quarterbacks go? Because we know how inflated that position gets. Dante Moore, Mendoza, I expect more to go in this draft. Like, why go back to Oregon? Why go back to school? Foote said it when we did our show. Why would you go back and risk when you know you're probably going top 2? The Jets are probably going to take Dante Moore if he goes. Jordan Tyson's another player that I like. Once again, a wide receiver that's, no. I don't think you're really out of range of that many guys. Of course, that's saying that Caleb Downs isn't going to go top 3, top 5. That's assuming that maybe Arvell Reese kind of slides a little bit. It's just being at 12 is a lot different than the past years that we've talked about at 18, 19, 20, 24, 20. Like, we can have a little bit more fun. You can move up quite a bit, and you can move quite a bit back if you want to. So if you guys want to, you can ask me questions down below in the comments section. I want to just do a quick Q&A, draft questions, off-season questions, anything like that. I like going live here on the Landry Hat because it seems like, one, the videos do better, and 2, I like having you guys talk to me legitly, like right here live. But yeah, that's pretty much for today's show. This guy said, sign a cornerback, sign a DN, draft linebacker at 12, draft safety at 20. I actually don't mind that at all, because think back to the year that they signed Stephon Gilmore. So that's what they traded for him. But yes, it was a 1-year deal. I'm pretty sure they had Stephon Gilmore. Get a cornerback, get a veteran cornerback, because right now you have Bland. Diggs is obviously gone. Go get a cornerback. Don't know who that's going to be. Alante Taylor is a name that I like, and I've said a lot. And then Savone Revel, maybe Bland, if you sign an outside corner, can go back into the slot. Then sign a defensive end. I 100% agree. I would not trade for Max Crosby. I want to get as many of those first-round picks as I possibly can, because they don't just grow on trees. The Cowboys haven't had a first-round pick in how long? Or 2 first-round picks in the same draft in how long? And for one, that's cheap labor. You don't have to give up a first round and then pay Max Crosby $30 million this year. You can take the defensive end that you maybe paid $8 to $10 million and then go and use your 2 first-round picks. I like the linebacker at 12 because I think Sonny Styles is a top 12 player in this class. And then I'm going to have to watch more of the safety group. I've only seen 2 or 3 of those guys so far. I would be interested to see what safety you would want at 20. But yes, I like the idea. 1, fix the defense, get a corner, get a defensive end because those guys weren't good this year. You just paid Dante Fowler, $6 million, $7 million to get you 3.5 sacks. You got to get better production out of the guys you do sign in free agency. You need another cornerback. Deron Bland hasn't been able to stay healthy. Savone Revel is still a young player. Bland does much better in the slot. And Trayvon Diggs is gone. You need players. And I think you really got to do it now. Like, we cannot sit around and just wait on these drafts. Like, you got 2 first-round picks this year. You have 1 next year. You don't have 2 because of the Quinnen Williams trade, which I'm completely fine with. But you can't build a roster off just those trades. Even looking at the Rams, a team that didn't have a first-round pick from 2016, which was Jared Goff, all the way to 2025 or 2024 when they took Jared Verse. Go and look at that team and look at their draft picks. They had Jared Verse, hit. They drafted Braden Fisk in the 2nd round, hit. They got guys on the back end of that defense, hit. 11, I think they said the other night on TV, this is bad broadcasting. I wasn't expecting to be talking about the Rams. I think they said 11 of their 13, or it was something crazy, were on the field getting legitimate snaps for that team. And at the end of the day, that's what you got to do. We went back. We've looked at the Cowboys' previous drafts. We've talked about why they are in the position that they're in. And it's because they haven't drafted well. They haven't. What they really need to happen this year is to become real players in free agency, find 2 starters in the draft, find 2 starters in free agency, maybe sign a starter at the safety spot because Donovan Wilson's probably gone. I think Malik Hooker has 1 more year on his deal. Elijah Clark is just going to be a 2nd-year undrafted free agent. Are you willing to bet on that? I'm not personally, but I agree. Sign a cornerback, sign a defensive end. Linebacker at 12. If it's Sonny Styles, if he's the best player on the board, 100%, I would be interested to see who's available or who the safety is at 20. So some positions that make sense for Dallas at 12 and 20 for me. I'm going to rank these really, really quick. We're going to get Foots' opinion later this week on the show. Number 1, I think it's corner. I say that because corner seems like the position. First of all, it's premium. Corner, edge, quarterback, wide receiver, those are premium positions. Corner, because I think you're going to have Mansour Delay in there. You might even, who I'm not a huge fan of, Jermode McCoy. There's a couple other guys. Avian Terrell might be available at like the 20 range. But corner, then I would go, I'm going to say edge in the draft because I would like for them to sign a linebacker, get a linebacker because it's something that you can get good production. You just need to raise the floor of that position based on how low the floor was this year. There were times where the linebackers just consistently got them killed in games over and over and over. You could sign a DeMario Davis. You could sign a Bobby Wagner. You could sign a number of different guys, older guys that are in their mid-30s that have continued to play good football. You could sign Quinn Williams' brother, Quincy Williams, and probably get better linebacker play than you did this year, depending on the defensive coordinator, Jim Leonard. He's a guy that does a really good job with, I know, the back end and the DBs. I would like to get a corner in there for him as well, but I think you can sign a linebacker and maybe draft a corner. Even if you signed a corner in free agency, draft another one because it's a premium spot. It's a spot that we thought was going to be set for years and years to come. So it sounds crazy to say draft one in the first round, maybe even double dip at it because you have Revel and you have Bland and Diggs is gone. That spot needs some players. You're not good enough there. Then I would say edge. But the problem I have with edge, and I always feel like I talk out of both sides of my neck. I don't. have a true stance on this. I worry about edge because it's not an instant impact for rookies. Very, very rarely is there a guy that comes into the league. Micah did it. They didn't draft him to be an edge rusher, but it's very, very rare that a guy just comes into the league and is the most legit pass rusher just right out of the gate. And that's what we're looking for in Dallas right now. That's the spot they put them in. You need instant production at defensive end, but it also worries me. I want a good pass rusher, but am I willing to spend the 20th pick on it, or maybe get like the 6th guy? I don't really know. You know what? I don't really know at all, because this team has put us in a spot that we don't know what's going on. We don't know how to fix this. That's how bad they've been at free agent acquisition and drafting in the past, how many years? 3 years? Like, go back and look at Myles Garrett's a good example. The only year, number 1 overall pick, absolute freak pass rusher, played 11 games his rookie season. He had 7 sacks. It is the only season in his entire career that he had less than 10 sacks. It was his rookie. So even if you do go get a generational pass rusher, you're not guaranteed at that kind of production. Caleb Downs certainly changes my tune about the safety spot. If he's there at 12, he's going to be the best player on the board. Draft him. There's so many spots. I don't think you can really go wrong. Me and Foots, actually, I know what we're going to talk about. I haven't wrote down the stuff for the show yet, but I know what we're going to talk about. Good idea. I'm going to share it. We're going to talk about the running back. Is running back a crazy option in the first round? Because Jeremiah Love is crazy. Cornerback, edge, defensive tackle, linebacker, safety, any of those spots I would be happy with. And that's going to do it for today's show. Thank you guys for joining. Like I said, I just got off of my channel talking about Jim Leonhard, possibility of him being with the Cowboys, pretty much confirmed. Mike Fisher, Bobby Belt, both of those guys said Dallas has a favorite, and they're not going to do a whole lot more interviews. Now we're just waiting on Jim Leonhard from the Broncos to lose. So cheer against the Broncos this weekend, and Jim Leonhard will be your DC in no time. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please, if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, head down there and give us 5 stars. It really, really helps. It helps us get us on the algorithm and keep going up and up and up. And then here on YouTube, if you could, head down there, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, whether you're watching this live right now, which I really appreciate you guys, or you're watching the rerun of this. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time here on the Landry Hat. Shout out to FanSided. Shout out to Foots. I'll talk to you on